So, folks, I've got with me a very interesting trio. They're known as Duchess, but their names are not Duchess for all three of them. They're individual jazz artists that decided to actually band together, and they're recreating something that we haven't seen in a very long time in trios, which is three women doing this on an ongoing basis with a brand new album that is actually out since June 12th, which is why I've brought these three onto the screen so that you get a chance to know them individually. So please, ladies, could you introduce yourselves?
Sure, I'll start because on my screen I'm at the top. So I'm Amy Cervini. Hello.
I'm Hillary Gardner.
And I'm Melissa Stilianu.
So I'm assuming that you all have started very young to go into jazz?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's... Sorry, Hillary. No. I think it's the kind of thing, I think we all came at it actually very different. We have three very, very different stories. I started as a classical pianist, and when I needed to pick a second instrument and I picked the saxophone, the classical repertoire for the saxophone is very limited. I don't know if you know, but it's not always great. So, I mean, and the jazz repertoire is so much better, and you can play with other people, which was very appealing to me. So those were my first two instruments, and singing is an accident, but I did start playing jazz and listening to jazz when I was probably about 12 years old. So fairly young, yeah. But it came at a sort of roundabout kind of way for me.
And what about you, Hillary?
I grew up studying classical singing, but also really loving like Ella Fitzgerald and Joni Mitchell. And my parents had a great record collection, so I was exposed to a lot of different kinds of music. And I got really interested in jazz while I was singing in classical solo competitions, but also in choirs and also singing country music. So I was doing kind of a lot of things at the same time. And but I also really always loved New York and dreamed of moving to New York City and becoming a singer there. So jazz fit very organically into that dream.
And what about you, Melissa?
I only started listening to jazz when I was in my mid-teens. I think I was in grade 11, as we say in Canada. And I was extremely shy until the very end of my high school career. So I sang in the vocal jazz ensemble, and I did some work in some of the musicals, but I had I was very shy. And then something happened, and I kind of came out of my shell and decided to study acting. I went to Ryerson Theatre School and in Toronto, where I'm from. And then while I was in theater school studying acting, someone asked me to sing in a big band, and I'd never done anything of the sort. I didn't go to music school and hadn't considered myself to be a jazz musician. But once I did that for the first time, singing with a big band, it just got me. So right from that moment, from the late 90s, I've been doing that ever since. And moving to New York happened for me. I was the most recent transplant to New York City. I moved there in 2005, and shortly afterwards, I met up with Amy Cervini, and a little bit after that, Hillary Gardner, and not long after that, 2013 was when we started Duchess.
Okay, so you guys finally met all in New York City. I know that you have more than one album that actually came out. You've got at least, if memory serves, 4. I'm probably not.
This will be the 4th, and then we have a Christmas EP as well. So that's released only digitally.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about having an extra phone is that I can pull you guys.
We all
Well,
need that extra phone.
yeah, sadly, I've got one phone for my radio show, one phone to do my recordings and editing, and my laptop that I'm currently on right now, which does better quality when it comes to recording. So Duchess, Duchessen. Folks, don't put the Duchess because you're not going to get the proper band. You're going to get Fergie instead of Duchess.
Yeah.
So it's Duchess. And they've got on Spotify 4 albums that are currently there. If not, actually, well, no, I lie. There's the first one that was Duchess in 2015, and then you hop to 2017 with Laughing at Life. Live at Jazz Standard 2020, the Christmas version of an album that was released digitally, and now we come to a marvelous party, and look at these 3 ladies. It definitely is a very good party. So let me ask you, when did you actually decide that this has to be recorded? Did you guys meet all in the recording studio? I think you did, because there's clips indicating that you were meeting with your director in regards to getting together and doing the recordings.
Yeah, we I think this has been brewing. We've been thinking about this record, not necessarily what it turned into, but we've been thinking about another record for a while. We weren't sure if we were going to do it post-pandemic. You just kind of wonder why at some point. But then we came up with a really good answer, and it's because we want to, spread joy and enjoy the party of each other's company and the harmony. And so I guess we started, I don't remember anything. It could have been yesterday. It wasn't, because we've already recorded this, but we started thinking about this at least a year and a half ago, probably a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. Just as a hope and a wish, and it started to come together. And yeah, we rehearse with our producer, and he arranges everything for us. Those are the clips you see on our Instagram page at Duchess Trio, by the way. You can see us sort of learning the song. So he writes for us. We help. We sing for him, and then he makes some changes sometimes based on how it sounds, based on how those rehearsals go. And then, for this record, we did one rehearsal with the band and then went into the studio. That was kind of it.
So, how big is the band? I know that if we go by the Botswell and the Andrews sisters, there's always this big ensemble that used to be the then, but what was it for you guys now?
I can take that one. So at our smallest, we are the 3 of us plus a rhythm section, generally piano, bass, and drums. We often have our wonderful friend Jessie Lewis on guitar as well. And this album represents the largest that our group has achieved. We've had horn players play with us as well. Jeff Lederer is on our first 2 albums, and we have 5 horns on this record. Oded Levarie came up with this concept for a sound that really, if you're just listening casually, you might think it's a whole big band up there, but it's really 5 horns. So we've got trumpet, alto saxophone, or alto as they say in the States, tenor saxophone, baritone saxophone, and trombone. And some people are doubling on other instruments as well. And with these 5 horns, Oded has managed to just weave some magic. So that's what you're hearing on the record. And that is, that's 9 pieces plus us. That's 12.
Okay, so 5 horns, piano, guitarist, percussion, and then you guys. And bass. There's a running gag always with the bass. So I know that a lot of the tunes are pretty much covers, unless I'm missing something.
You are missing nothing. There are no songs that we have written on this album. They're all songs that have been recorded and performed by other artists throughout the decades. In the jazz world, we don't really tend to think about them as much as covers, though. There are standards.
Yeah.
Which a cover song is, I think, of something more like, I don't know, like an Elton John song that he wrote and recorded and made famous, and it's Elton John's song, and somebody's covering that song in their bar gig. But a jazz standard, it's like it's repertoire, right? This is a body of work that exists, that everyone who's a practitioner of this music kind of comes to and makes their own. So I think it's an important distinction.
Okay.
But there are some standards on this project that are definitely lesser known, and some that are very well known. And I'd say the closest thing there is to a cover on this record, though, is probably Peggy Lee's signature song, "Is That All There Is?" And maybe Danke Schoen too, because Wayne Newton really made that. That's pretty inextricably linked to Wayne Newton. So I maybe there are a couple of covers, but the rest of them I'd call standards.
Yeah, but the standards are all good ones. At least the ones that I actually enjoyed, because this is an assumption. Please feel free to correct me, but there must have been certain changes in the arrangement to actually suit the vocal range and the band.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's custom arrangements. So while we are using the in standard version, Oded takes that, and then we pass around the melody, and he writes different parts for us. So it's definitely the only thing that is sort of remains from the original is that melody, and then the basic harmony exists as well from that standard. Yeah,
because the one that you were releasing singles teasing us with the new album, but one of the ones that actually tickled my fancy was "Ain't That a Kick in the Head," but done by three ladies, and ladies of jazz to boot. That said, right now, are you planning any touring with the new album, or is it gonna just be local NYC area?
I can answer that. We're so we just finished playing a nearly sold out show at Birdland. It's less than 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
It was fantastic. And we did that with the full band, the actual band from the recording, which even when most of us live in New York City and two of the horn players do not live in New York City, is a really impressive thing. We had a wonderful time. We are working on some touring. We're playing in the Poconos, in the a few hours north of us, in July, and we are playing just over the river in New Jersey. We've got a date coming up in, I think that's October. So we're working on some stuff for the fall and definitely into the new year, and looking forward to taking this project as many places as we can, hopefully including Canada.
Hopefully, because when it comes to New York City, New York State is, 2-3 states over from New Brunswick, which is just across Maine. You just cross the Maine border and you're in my province, but there is a festival that happens during September. It's called Harvest. They used to be known as the Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival, but they rebranded literally to Harvest because there's anything being added into it, be it band members from Fish with a whole bunch of others. There's Big Band of Joy that was actually there. There was also a few more notables that for the life of me I've lost count, because this was happening for the last 30 years. I've only been doing this for 30 years in direct, but now I'm doing it like this since COVID, and also because of the economy and the political strife that's currently happening. It's not to be shunned or put aside, but I'm glad that you ladies are doing what you do. But the question begs to be asked, now that you're doing this, is it a full-time thing or is it part-time? Is there other careers that are currently shoring up the inevitable cash flow bit?
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, right. You know, it's we all have solo careers. We all have multiple albums released of our solo careers. So we're always working on a lot of things, and I think for any freelance human, you know, you are constantly sort of trying to figure out different paths. We all have different passions and projects happening. So always pretty busy.
Okay. And what about you, Hillary? Are you as busy with your solo career as well and other things?
Things are definitely busy. Yeah, we all, like Amy said, we have different solo projects, and it's kind of amazing when you look at all of the different things that we've done individually. I don't think you would naturally say those people probably sing together all the time because they're very different projects. But yes, I just recorded my 5th recording as a leader that probably won't be out until early next year at the earliest. So, but in kind of post-production world with that, and yeah, like Amy said, just always, you know, you get the work you can get when you can get it, and you just keep making music. But it's a gift to be busy.
And what about you, Melissa?
Oh, yeah, a lot of the same, but I just want to say, I don't know if Hillary was going to say, she's on her way to London this weekend, and she's you know, I mean, definitely fabulous and jet setting. I think she's playing elsewhere in Europe as well. So for my part, I am writing music and working on my next project. And yeah, we all have our own things on the go. I also have a son, and I'm in school part-time. There's kind of a lot. There's a lot to juggle, but it's wonderful. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, that's nice. I mean, all three of you are probably doing what I've been seeing with Canadians and Americans singing jazz. It's always been the thing. They've got their families or they're solo. They've got sons. They've got pets. They've got possibly a second job. Mind you, the job came first before the passion overwhelmed the job. And then it became, like you girls, recording all individually and also getting together to form the Duchess, or a Duchess, just without the there is one question that I have to ask. During all of this, your solo careers, your trio, do you even have to, and in your case, Melissa, your son and your school, do you have time for hobbies?
Oh, I love that question. I think, yeah, you have to. I think, let's see, specific hobbies. I took a dance class this year, which I found to be a completely different sort of thing for me. I mean, I have danced before. I was a music theater major in high school, but, you know, to take a dance class at this stage in my life was sort of liberating and delightful. Yeah, I enjoy, you know, just being with people that I love. That seems to be like, I know that's not really a hobby, but it is because it's what I make space for. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely, I think there's always time if you make it.
Okay. And what about you, Hillary?
I really love to cook, mostly because I really love to eat. My husband loves to cook also, so definitely a lot of cooking and reading about food and some writing about food, although not as much of that as I would like. And I started weightlifting this year, which has been really interesting because I never imagined that I would get into that, but that's been an interesting journey. I kind of fell off it this week. So it's now that I've said that out loud, I have to get back to the gym. But yeah.
Okay, and what about you, Melissa?
Yeah, I guess I would count right now that part of my life is being filled with my school. I'm finally topping off a diploma in acting that I received in the 90s in Toronto. I'm topping it off and going to have a bachelor's degree in theater with a minor in music by the end of it. So at the moment, I'm engrossed in the Iliad and the Aeneid. I'm taking a classical mythology class for my bachelor's degree and doing stuff like that. I'll be taking geology and auditioning later in the summer. So that's where my energy is at right now. It's really fun.
Okay, so you girls have full plates. I mean, music is fine and dandy. A lot of people take it in as a hobby first and foremost, and sometimes just dabbling. But when the passion wells out to the point that you're going, I'm missing something. I'm really missing a second or third person in this, a band. I'm missing out on doing this with other people and showing the joy that I have and the interest and the soul that you actually want to bring in regards to sharing these particular moments of your life's works on stage. I mean, if I was seeing you live, I'd be going up to you and I'd be shaking your hand and thanking you so much for giving me a part of your life and your time. So
thank you. That's so nice.
The last question I have is probably going to be a little bit to the left field. What's your favorite food dish? Now, this question goes to all three of you, and by food dish, I don't mean food group. I mean an actual dish that's prepared. If it was made available in front of you amongst others that would be presented on a buffet table, for example, and you decided that's what I want from now on, anytime that I have the opportunity, what would be that food dish? So I'll start off with Amy.
So this will change daily for me because I love food so much and I can't imagine picking one thing. But for today, I was recently at a restaurant in my neighborhood called Hearth. And there was a early summer salad with snap peas and a green pea hummus and beautiful leafy greens. And I know it doesn't sound decadent and it sounds like very New York and woo-woo, but it tasted like French fries and gravy to me. Like just in terms of how much it satisfied. So I kind of snuck the other answer in there, which is French fries with gravy. But you can't get that here as often because people look at you very funny when you ask for gravy with your French fries just because they don't have it. It's not available. So I will say at this time of year in June, it is like market fresh salad, something to do with peas.
Okay, so that's the fresh produce and all thrown into a salad with the side of gravies and fries.
Yes, with a side of fries and gravy, please. Yes.
I make my own gravy when it comes to making it, so I never have a shortage of gravy whenever it's present. But then again, sometimes not.
The East Coast is on my list of places I need to go, so I'll be right over for some gravy. That sounds great.
Okay. What about you, Hillary?
Such a hard question because like Amy said, I love to eat and I eat very seasonally. And so the answer changes like every single day based on what's around. But I will say if I'm in the presence of fish tacos, like if I see fish tacos on a menu, wherever I am, whatever's going on, it's really hard for me to order anything other than the fish taco.
Oh. Okay.
So I guess just for ease, I will say, like, I've never turned down a fish taco. I'm never not in the mood for a fish taco.
Okay, the fish tacos are great, especially if they're done Mexican style, because there's variations on what a taco is depending on where you go. But I've had my experience when it was in season with fish taco with crema and hot sauce and a whole bunch of
Yeah.
salsas that I actually enjoyed. So yeah, I can agree with that. And what about you, Mel? What do you have?
Well, first I will say I have been there when Hillary has succumbed to the fish taco pull. Even in, do you remember this, Hillary? We were there ahead of Amy. We were in Montana. And you were like, you know what? I'm going to get the fish tacos. I think we both did, though. It was great. It was actually really good.
Hillary had fish tacos last Sunday when we were together. I'm just saying. Out there.
That's right.
I think you did, Hillary.
Oh, I totally did. Yeah, they were at the.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
Yep. Yummy. So delicious. And the two of these ladies are opening up my palate. But if it comes to a favorite, when you said if it was on a buffet.
Well, buffet in the sense that it's one of the dishes that's available, but more to the point that if I decided to pull out 5 different dishes and put them on a table, which technically means buffet, but one of those dishes was something that you absolutely want to have because you've already had it, what would it be?
Well, I got to go with fries, but they need to have just been freshly made. I like them with the skin on, no batter coating. And I will have gravy. I grew up with gravy for sure, but I would get half of those fries that Amy and I are sharing and put them off to the side because I'm going to douse them in vinegar. And that's another thing they don't do down here.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Not even malt vinegar? I'm surprised.
If you go to an Irish pub, they'll have malt vinegar.
Okay.
But yeah, the vinegar and fries thing. So I love that so much. And then if they're, aside from that, I'm gonna say too, then my second one would be really, really good chocolate ice cream, like really dense chocolate ice cream. And that doesn't need anything on it, just by itself. Good for me.
Now, since you shared this, I might as well share what I have as food passion. There's 2 variations that I do. There's the shepherd's pie, which in Canadian French is pâté chinois, which literally is just a layer of ground beef or pork, depending, that I cook. I keep the grease because the gravy is going to be made with that. I then put a can of corn. I don't use cream corn because I find that it waters up the dish. And whipped mashed potatoes. But because I'm lactose intolerant and we're trying to eat healthier, we typically put unsweetened soy milk in the mix so that we can actually do the blending properly. And maybe some margarine. Probably avocado depending on what I have, and then everything goes in the oven for 30 minutes at 380 degrees just to give it a crisp crust, and then the gravy is going to be made with spices depending on how I feel, and that's served on top of the actual pâté chinois. And the second one is my grandmother's. It's patate au nord in French, but if I had to translate it in English, it's foxy beef stew. And it's done typically with the cuts of stewing cubes, but you can do it with any beef. And then you add potatoes, carrots, onion, I'm missing one, turnip, or rutabaga, depending on the vegetable that you actually use. With savoring, so OXO for me is what I typically use to make it flavorful, salt, pepper, and then I make sure that I'm kind of overcook the potatoes a bit so that it actually makes it thicker. The potato starch actually will make it thicker when you put it in the fridge, and then you serve it with flatbread called ploy, which is for you guys in English, it would be the equivalent of a very thin buckwheat pancake.
Wow, that sounds delightful.
Well, it feeds
And
many
I'm stuck
people.
in the car getting hungry, so, you know.
Well, this said, folks, you do need to go visit their website, which is, I think it's duchess.com, isn't it?
DuchessTrio.com.
DuchessTrio.com. Any merch available from the website?
Yes, we have. Actually, we just made some new merch. So if you go there and you hit shop, I believe is the link, but it's there on our website.
Okay, and
You can
any
get T-shirts and hats and buy the CDs there as well.
okay, and
Vinyl.
Vinyl. You decided to do vinyl.
We made vinyl, and it is pink with sparkles inside. So worth just to see this. It's so happy making,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's worth it. It's definitely worth it, even with the shipping cost to Canada.
Yeah, well, trust
It's
me.
not so bad, actually.
Well, it's not too bad. It's a little bit annoying in regards to the weight if you have to carry it to your venues and selling the merch. But
Oh, yes, for sure.
that said, folks, this was the Duchess Trio, and they made time out of their busy days. We managed to hammer out something shortly after the release of their new album, which dropped in the market on the 12th, and it's literally called Duchess, A Marvelous Party. So look for it, and please, if you live in New York City, if you want to see where they're going, I do recommend that you actually go and visit and be one of the patrons, getting your ears tickled with the melodies that these ladies actually entrance and deliver with pizzazz. So with that, I wish you the best of a good day, and that you all have a fabulous supper as well, since it's probably around that time for you guys, and for me too.
It's that time. Yes. All right. Thank you, Yannick, so much for having us. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
It was
Yes,
an ideal pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Likewise.
Bye.
Oh.